In this video, we are going to talk about VeChain, some of its recent price action, the important support and resistance areas, and where we can expect the price of VeChain to go in the coming days and weeks. So we'll start by looking at the weekly chart, and what we can see right here is that VeChain has just been continuously dumping with no value whatsoever since July of 2025. VeChain has been performing absolutely horribly in the last year or so, and even before that really, since late 2024, since this mini altcoin season that we've seen back in late 2024, VeChain has just been dumping and dumping with no sign of stopping whatsoever, and it just continues to create lower, further all-time lows. VeChain just created another all-time low last week, and it is basically at the same level still. Really, it seems like no matter what happens with the rest of the crypto market, no matter what happens with Bitcoin, VeChain just continues dumping. Even back in the last couple of months, when we've seen Bitcoin get the rally from about 60k all the way up to 82k, all we've seen from VeChain is just the dump slowing down a bit, and it got a bit of a consolidation. No rally really for VeChain, despite Bitcoin going up over 30% in a couple of months. We've really not seen anything with VeChain, and now that we've seen Bitcoin stop the rally and get a bit of a dump, VeChain just continued to dump as well, and it is looking absolutely horrible, really. It broke down below every single support area. There is really no positive sign for VeChain in the long term. Since late 2024, it has been performing just absolutely horribly. The only support areas we have left for VeChain are from all the way back in 2020. Back then, we've seen VeChain reach these areas. We had this support area before that we talked about in previous videos, but it seems like VeChain is breaking down below that as well. And now really, the last support area left for VeChain, which is actually quite strong, is the all-time low. Basically, we've seen VeChain reach this area around 0.003 three times in the past, back in 2018 to 2020. This is actually a pretty strong support area. We've seen VeChain get a very significant rally from there. Back in March 2020, we've seen VeChain rally from there all the way up to its all-time high. This has been an absolutely incredible rally. But in my opinion, next time we see VeChain visiting that area again, the chances of such a rally are basically non-existent. In my opinion, it is quite likely that VeChain will get all the way back down to that area of the all-time low, and it could potentially get some support from there, maybe actually get a pretty significant rally for the first time since 2024. But even then, the chances of it getting to an all-time high are basically non-existent. As I said, VeChain is really one of those altcoins that performed very well in the altcoin season back in 2021, but then in the bear market of 2022 following it, it has been just doing so horribly, and it will most likely never recover back up to its all-time highs, or at the very least, it will not happen for many more years. And guys, just a quick reminder that if you are enjoying these videos and you want more updates about VeChain as well as other altcoins and the entire crypto market in general, make sure to subscribe. It helps the channel way more than you know, and it allows me to continue making these videos. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And now let's get back into the video. So really, it seems like no matter what Bitcoin does, as I said, VeChain just continues dumping further and further. So even if we do get a bit of a rally, which I am expecting for Bitcoin sometime in the coming weeks, I do expect Bitcoin to rally back up to 70 to 75k. But even if that happens, I do not expect a significant rally for VeChain, and I think that we would first need to see VeChain dumping all the way back down to this crucial support area, which is basically the all-time low. From there, it is more likely for VeChain to get a bit of a rally, a bit of support, but until we reach that, I just expect VeChain to continue dumping. Really, I'm quite skeptical about VeChain, and the structure looks pretty horrible, honestly. Also, in general, I'm quite pessimistic about altcoins as a whole. As I said in many videos before, I am expecting in the long term for altcoins to significantly underperform Bitcoin, since I think that we are still in a bear market most likely, and that Bitcoin will eventually break below 60k and continue to create new lows for this bear market. And historically, in bear markets, altcoins for the most part significantly underperform Bitcoin. As Bitcoin dumps, altcoins dump even further. And also historically, for us to get an altcoin season, we first need to see Bitcoin and Ethereum hitting to new all-time highs, which right now is very far away from being the reality in the market. Bitcoin is about 50% down from its all-time high, Ethereum even more than that. And really, the chances of an altcoin season anytime soon, anytime even in 2026 at all, seem very, very slim to me. And I think that it will probably not happen for many, many months, potentially not even in 2027. I think that we could only really consider it much further into the next bull market, and we are very far away from that being even a possibility that I'm willing to consider, honestly. Of course, in crypto, things are very volatile and can change very quickly, but I think that at least until we see Bitcoin getting to new all-time highs, I wouldn't even really consider an altcoin season in the long term. Of course, in the short term, there can be some rallies, and we've actually seen one of those rallies by altcoins in the last couple of weeks. We've seen altcoins slightly outperform Bitcoin, but again, in the long term, I am not expecting this to happen. And with VeChain specifically, despite even altcoins outperforming Bitcoin for a few weeks, VeChain has not been one of them, and it continues to dump further and further. So honestly, at this point, of course, this isn't financial advice whatsoever, but I would personally avoid being into altcoins as a whole and into VeChain specifically. With altcoins, maybe I would consider being into some very selectively for the short term, only the altcoins that have a very good structure. And in my opinion, VeChain is not one of them at the moment, and I would only maybe consider being into it if it gets all the way down to the all-time low and we see it starting to get some support from there. But until that happens, if it does, I would avoid VeChain, as I said. And even if it does go all the way down to the all-time low, it absolutely does not guarantee a rally, just makes the likelihood of a relief rally for VeChain a bit higher. But even then, it could definitely just continue dumping and even continue creating new all-time lows, even breaking below this support area. And then we really won't have any floor for VeChain, any support areas at all. And we would likely not see VeChain get any significant rallies until we are back into the bull market, and it could take many more months until we see VeChain performing well again. And as I said before, I'm not expecting VeChain to get into new all-time highs ever, basically, or at the very least not for many more years. So again, not financial advice at all, but I would be very cautious with VeChain, and I can't say anything too optimistic about it really. So hey guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it and you want more updates about VeChain as well as other altcoins, if you're getting any value from these videos, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.